A sustainable New Deal is essential for a low-carbon recovery to the current global recession, says the latest report by the Sustainable Development Commission. It calls on the government to match the scale of its green ambitions with a stimulus package that will allow £30 billion a year of investment to flow into sustainable measures. The Commission proposes focusing on 6 main areas.
We've looked at 6 areas in this report which would transform people's lives in terms of upgrading our existing and very leaky and old-fashioned housing stock so that it uses less energy, providing people with better travel choices, redesigning the grid so that we could feed power into the grid from our own houses, transforming government buildings. These are all things where investment now would create jobs in the short term, would save carbon and would actually bring direct benefits to communities that are being impacted by the recession.
It also includes scaling up renewable energy supplies through increased investment into green technologies. Mr. Lee said now was the time for the UK to exploit renewable areas in which it was well suited.
For example, wave and tidal power. We're an island on the western edge of Europe. We are very well placed to be developing a world-beating industry in that area. But it's also about how you pay for these things. We know that government spending is a very difficult issue at the moment. So, for example, ideas like green bonds, where you and I could actually invest our savings, getting a long-term return, and know that that money was actually helping to equip our country for dealing with climate change, would be a very good solution.
Globally, the SDC says the green technologies market is worth $3 trillion, and the UK needs to follow leads from countries like Japan if they want to be a key player in the low-carbon market and benefit from the jobs, innovation and investment. Failure to commit would increase the gap between the UK and its competitors. And investment now in British companies like this one, Solar Century, could pay speedy dividends, including a potential 800,000 new jobs.
Some of the measures that we're talking about would pay back in a very quick timescale. In a matter of 3 to 5 years, you'd start to get the benefits, for example, of upgrading existing housing. There's also job potential there because we actually need the skills out there in the workforce for people to actually come and do this stuff, to actually install this kit. And some of those skills are not available at the moment. So this will be about reskilling part of our workforce, getting people into work quickly, doing things which are part of a sustainable future.
And a start, he said, that would hopefully be the beginning of a new low-carbon economy in the UK.
It would be crazy to pretend that this on its own is going to be the response to the economic crisis. However, what we're saying in this report is we have to move in a completely different direction with our society and with our economy if we're going to meet the challenges of climate change. This sort of investment now and stimulating this sort of funding will actually get us on the right pathway instead of taking us back to a high carbon economy, which we simply cannot sustain in the long term.
He hoped the Treasury would give some serious consideration to the recommendations and believed they would put the UK on track to achieving ambitious targets set out by the Climate Change Act and demonstrate leadership in tackling this global problem.